we've got Relativity Space, Stoke Space, and Firefly all kind of right next to each other in Cape Canaveral.
The back end of an SR-71 has more cake than a bakery.
Keep showing us what you have going on. We'll root for you.
Good morning. How's everything up in the sky?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tomorrow. We are going to have a very interesting show this week about some of the stuff that has been happening. We've got quite a few spaceplane ideas that have come forward, some of them very old and are now new again. And there have been quite a few updates in the rocket industry with official Artemis programs, as well as several commercial providers who are working on their own developments and their own business cases. And we're seeing lots of great progress in multiple fields. Aside from that, it's also a week of anniversaries. This week we've been celebrating the anniversary of the Apollo-Soyuz test project, and today is July 20th, the 56-year anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. So with me today, I am joined by Ryan Caton. We also have a Dutta with us and a Jared Head. And thank you everyone for being here and for watching with us today. And let's talk about space news. Did anyone see this Skylon 3.0 proposal coming back from the dead coming? I certainly didn't.
Tell me about it.
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's like flowers in springtime. You know, they're there, they're gone. They're there, they're gone. Here they come.
It has definitely been a really interesting development. And let me just pull up the render video of this, because I actually don't know very much about this company and this is not just, this is ESA actually proposing this. This isn't just some company coming out of nowhere and saying that they're going to do this. This is ESA paying them to study this idea.
Kill the volume.
Sorry about that. But yeah, this is ESA actually paying this company to study this idea of bringing Skylon back and getting past that milestone that many have tried before and failed, of having this pre-cooled air-breathing engine to be able to do someday single stage to orbit with space planes. For now, from what I understand of this particular iteration of Skylon, is that this would actually just be a hypersonic demonstrator going up to Mach 5, but wouldn't actually travel into space, at least not in its first version. Maybe they'll be working on stuff like that in the future, but for now, it's just to get the engines working and flying and test out different technologies that, you know, defense corporations and several different space companies are also looking at for testing out their hardware in a supersonic facility before actually flying it into space on an orbital mission. And
did nobody tell them that fuel takes up space?
Well, that's the beauty of these things. If they can ever get them to work, is they only have to bring the a partial part of the fuel with them. They only have to take half the fuel with them because they're getting the rest of it from the atmosphere. If they can get these air-breathing engines to work,
you need enough to get off the ground and up to that speed.
Mm-hmm. So there is a little bit of fuel to start with. There certainly is a little bit of fuel to start with, but after they get to a certain velocity, that's when the air breathing kicks into it. And from what I understand, the reaction engines, who did a lot of work on the Sabre engine in the past, that was the part that they were having the most struggle with, because even though they were able to in theory get the air breathing system to work, it was generating so much heat that it would overheat the engines like almost instantly once that part of the system took over. They needed to get a pre-cooler in order to cool everything down in order to get it to work, and as far as I know, they didn't and went bankrupt before they figured it out.
I see a long engineering road to make this happen.
Yeah,
I don't think those renders represent what it's actually going to turn out to be.
Probably not, but the weird thing to me is the group that that ESA is contracted to do this, a company called Fraser Nash, some sort of consultancy group, and I guess used to be a car company. Ryan, do you know anything about these guys? Because I've never heard of them before.
They're an engineering consultancy firm, so this is I guess it's kind of it's difficult to describe really how this fits in, but I guess ESA just looked around and was like, all right, you guys do a lot of everything. Let's hand it over to you guys and see what you can come up with this project, because yeah, this is like the third generation of this kind of thing. Like there was, I think it was Hotel, then there was Skylon, now there's Invictus. It's like you can get how many like prototype things, renders, drawings are we gonna have at this point? Because we're 3 generations deep now, and nothing's flown. So
I
And
mean,
also the like just the center of gravity looks like it's off. The center of gravity, center of pressure relationship. It's not a lifting body. It's just a cylindrical tube. So how do they figure that's like, I don't know.
It's an SR-71, but a little bit faster and a lot less
Well, no,
vertical
well, no.
stabilizer.
And SR-71 was basically a lifting body. It was a wide aerofoil shaped device, and the fuselage shape added to the lift. So if you're now doing that as a circle, you're losing that lift. You need to move where your wings are so that they match
That's
the
true.
center of gravity.
Yeah, the back end of an SR-71 has more cake than a bakery, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
that's one way of putting it.
yeah.
I like how Alex Physics actually put this, because this idea just will not die. Skylon can neither be created nor destroyed. It transforms into other space planes.
Skylon Dynamics.
Good one. And yeah, Aravel seems like it might be good for point to point if they can get it working. And I do at least appreciate that they've scaled it back from being a single stage to orbit to just being a Mach 5 atmospheric hypersonic demonstrator. Like I said, they might move on to that
mean,
someday, but
3 generations deep in the design, and we're like, okay, maybe space is a bit ambitious. Let's just see if we can actually get into the air this time.
let's see if we can get. Yeah,
That's a good target to start with.
Yeah, it is.
And
Nothing wrong with that.
Like one of the things, like if you recall any kind of history or secret CIA stuff that the United States used to do, we had the not the M2F1, the M2 that was mounted on the back of a SR-71 that they tried to launch from an SR-71, and that was incredibly problematic, because they were doing it in atmosphere at Mach speeds, kind of in the vortex of the lift from the airframe between the vertical stabilizers. And like trying to deploy that actually ended up killing 2 pilots and doomed the entire program. And yeah, Space Mike, thanks for pulling that up.
this thing.
I was going to say, I don't think they ever actually got a successful recovery of the
Go back to that.
film from 1 2. I know the United States was using it essentially around Vietnam. They'd be flying them out of Okinawa and that area, and doing quote reconnaissance of Vietnam, close quote, they would actually launch them at China instead.
Well, I'm not even talking about their operational effectiveness. I'm talking about the difficulty of accomplishing that concept, the difficulty of launching one body from another body in supersonic, or worse yet, even hypersonic airflow. That's going to be a huge, huge challenge. And I didn't see that they had, like a separable nose or anything like that in their concept, but like, how are they going to, where's their payload going, and what are they going to do with it? And if their notion is to just do basically parabolic flights where they get up and give you a couple of minutes of free fall, like, why? And if their intent is then to take this supersonic or hypersonic ground to atmosphere approach, and then they've got to be able to launch something from that. How are they going to accomplish that?
I remember in the old renders, they had a small type of payload bay um, that would basically deploy, less size than certainly a Falcon 9 payload bay, but at least a small amount of payload if they ever got it to work. But that was
Yeah,
the old reaction engines idea.
but to do that, you have to get up and clear the atmosphere so that airflow over the airframe is not an issue.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
You're
if
kind of
that's not their plan, then what? Why?
And again, I mean, I don't think that this consultancy group has the ability to actually create this thing. So this is just a study to see if this would even work and would even be useful to ESA. But again, it
And
just won't die.
And my question on that in that regard would be where are they bringing their expertise for this sort of thing from? Does this consultancy group employ old SR-71 engineers, or like where are they just starting from scratch and building off of nothing? Like you've got an English consultancy firm that's working on something that, as far as I can tell, only the United States has had a handle on.
Yeah, right.
In any reasonable manner?
Great questions, and I have no idea.
May-
Like I said, I've never heard of them before. So
Maybe they don't either.
Well, there's another spaceplane concept though that was announced this week. Araville did point out hypersonics seem to be all the rage right now, so maybe it's just that of like FOMO. They don't want to. Maybe ESA doesn't want to miss out on that.
Hypersonic, so
and
hot
there is-
right now.
And there is a lot of government funding in it as well.
Mm-hmm. There is. So I mean,
So maybe they can take
Can't
advantage
imagine
of
why.
just from that.
Can't imagine why.
But an American company, Intuitive Machines, has announced an idea for a small lifting body spaceplane that seems to be pretty small, but would be doing orbital manufacturing, similar to Varda Space. Although Varda is looking more at pharmaceuticals, although that's not all they do. They're looking at others. For them, they're starting off looking more at orbital manufacturing. They have a deal with Space Forge and a company called Rhodium Scientific in order to produce crystals for eventually for silicon chip manufacturing. And it's a really interesting idea. Let's actually, Zach, if you can, go ahead and pull up the images that we found of this thing. It looks like just this tiny little lifting body. It says on their overview that it would have about 150 kilograms of payload. I would assume that's inside of this tiny thing, and seems to have a small engine. Might be based on the engine that they use for their landers. Not 100% sure, but getting into this whole idea of orbital manufacturing and robotic manufacturing of stuff. And actually, if you scroll down a little bit further, there's this kind of bad render, but a render of this thing landed. And it looks like from the shrubs and rocks nearby, this thing could be very, very small. And if that's the case, it might just be like what Varda's doing, being a small secondary payload on like a transporter mission or something like that. But I figure since it's very wide and kind of has a fat body, that hopefully they won't have any problems tipping over if they build this thing and start doing reentries and landings on Earth.
Well, I figure if you're landing on the Earth and you tip over in something like this, it's not too big a deal. You could just get a bunch of people out there and rewrite it. It's not like
I don't
it's not
I don't
like a
think
big,
it's going to
tall
need a bunch
lander.
of people.
Yeah, it could. You could just and it'll tip over really, really easily. So this is a
What is
lander
this,
for
lander
ants.
for ants? I mean, you just pick it up and turn it over. It's fine. How different is growing crystals for medical research from growing crystals for silicone?
I think it's just your base material of what you're trying to do, like what your base element is of crystals that you're trying to grow. And I am very ignorant on this subject actually, but in the case of the chip manufacturing, they're looking at like silicon stuff, and where in the case of the pharmaceuticals, they're looking at like different molecular chains, still crystal growth, but of a different element that eventually would go into pharmaceutical growth. You know, to be like a starter of something that they could continue growing, like a mother plant in gardening, that they could take, you know, bits off of and continue growing. That's in this, that's has a much better formation to it than the type of crystals that you can grow here on Earth.
I wonder if these are two aspects of the same industry.
It seems like it, because, like I said, Varda Space, they're not just doing pharmaceuticals; they're also looking at doing this type of like silicon chip manufacturing, crystal growth as well. So
Mm.
that's from what I understand. And here's actually something that I'm a little bit worried about. As much as I like these ideas, as much as I think that Varda is super impressive to do what they're doing and already have done 4 operational missions. Their 4th one is in space right now, and they just recovered their 3rd one not too long ago. And if Intuitive Machines is getting into this game, you know, good for them. What I worry about, though, with this type of orbital manufacturing stuff, if it picks up enough and is successful enough, will it defeat the purpose of having a commercial space station? And will there be no rationale for a human spaceflight program, at least in Earth orbit? That's what I worry about, despite rooting for these companies.
So I don't think so on that. I think what they're doing is based on knowledge that was gleaned from human research in space. And there's always going to be room for more advanced and further human research that only humans can do in space. And then that media or that those processes will filter down into something that we can then make and program robots to do automatically.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's still lots of stuff that we could be able to do. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that they're going to be successful with Zephyr, or what do you think their rationale is by pursuing this instead of going all in on their moon landers?
I mean, it's kind of putting as many eggs in as many baskets as possible, right? And it was also kind of surprising to say, considering they're quite deep into their lunar lander development right now. They're also competing for the lunar terrain vehicle contract from NASA. So it seemed like Intuitive Machines were fully focused on the moon, landing things on the moon, moving things about on the moon. But now they want to do this kind of reusable space plane kind of thing in low Earth orbit. And I'm like, why not? If you want to go for that, sure, go for that. I mean, I'm not going to say no to another space plane.
Right.
And it's also pretty exciting to see Space Forge getting involved. I mean, they have flown a couple of times now on rideshare missions. They flew on a SpaceX rideshare mission, 14, I think, Transporter 14, something like that.
I believe so,
a few
yeah.
weeks ago at this point. And they also their first satellite flew on a satellite rideshare. Oh, I can't remember what it was called now.
Was that one of the bandwagon ones, or was that also a transporter?
No, it was one of them small sat launch providers that seems to have gone bankrupt and has kind of, kind of spittles out into the distance somewhere. I can't exactly remember what they're called. But it's pretty exciting to see them moving into more space operation things, being a Welsh company. It's pretty neat to have some sort of European, British representation doing space manufacturing. It's pretty cool.
I always get Space Forge confused with another company, but that is the one that's UK based in Wales. Okay. But yeah, it could be a good source of a side business for Intuitive Machines to help them pay for some of their lunar ambitions. So yeah, I agree with you. Good for them. Jared, do you have any thoughts on these 2 spaceplane ideas before we move on?
Yeah, just obviously what's old is new again. So we'll have to see what happens with Invictus and all of them. And I mean, I'm always excited just for new stuff to jump on. Like, come on, let's get everybody involved in this. How can you? All I want is more. That's it. All I want is more. I guess that's always my attitude about things like this. And I'm actually really interested in the Intuitive Machines one because it very much reminds me of Europe's, is it Space Rider, or what is it?
I
Oh,
think
it's
so,
slipping my mind right now. Yeah, Space Rider, and I think India is also developing one as well, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, I want to see these get to, the actual flight stage. With Skylon, we got Saber, and we got hardware out of Saber, and we got demonstrations out of Skylon's Saber engine, but we never got the actual vehicle itself. And um, it's so
Yeah.
interesting that single stage to orbit is considered the holy grail of space flight. Um, and it's just so darn hard to do that because the math dictates that 95 to 98% of your mass is propellant. So like you got to figure out how do you get all the other stuff to be light enough and still have a payload in that 3 to 5 or 2 to 5%. Like,
Right.
man, that's some tough stuff. And it's scattered. History is scattered with the remnants, the husks of old programs like the X-33 and my personal favorite DCX and many others. So
Yeah.
we'll
I
have to
mean,
see. Nothing
y-
but the best of luck to all of them, and I'm really going to be looking very closely. I
it
mean,
is.
who is it? It was so Dawn Aerospace, who is in New Zealand and does their space plane stuff. They had a shirt that I totally dropped the ball on buying that said, "So what? I like space planes." And
Yeah.
that's my attitude about it. So what? I like space planes. So
Exactly. And yeah, I
yeah,
love how there is this weird kind of crossover of stuff. I mean, even Dream Chaser started off in the X-20s planes, all the different flying tub models
yep.
that they had, and then getting copied by the Russians with Bor 4, and then back to
They're
NASA
back
with
here,
HL-20, and then
20. Yeah.
eventually becoming Dream Chaser.
And then they're like, okay, well, why don't we actually make the HL-20? Like, let's supersize it. Let's take it to
Yeah, that's
McDonald's and
right. There was
supersize
that
it. So
version too.
we're gonna do the HL-24 for that. And then they're like, actually, no, we're gonna dial that back a little bit. Let's not.
I
We
forgot
watched the
about that one.
documentary. Let's
Don't
Uh,
not do that.
don't forget that
So,
all started with a bathtub they called the M2F1 that was made out of plywood and
yes,
fiberglass,
which
towed by a Buick.
yes, yeah, a convertible. They literally took
Yes.
the passenger seat and like turned it around so that way they could watch it and monitor it. And
oh
they
man.
towed it. They towed it across Rogers Dry Lake out of Edwards Air Force Base. How freaking wild is that? So it's so silly. And then they got the M2F2, and then they upgraded it to the M2F3, and yeah, and lifting bodies are awesome. So it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, here, let's
Gotcha.
go to this for a second. This is the square that they were talking about for
Hold on.
their render.
Hold on. Let me try to. Let me. Where is it? Where
So yeah, this is just a
now?
let's explain what this is first of all. What even is this square? This is just a thrust structure that is going to be built just for the testing of the exploration upper stage. This is the beefier upper stage for the SLS rocket in order to deliver past Artemis 3 to be able to either deliver pieces of
Sorry,
the gateway
it's really
station.
small. I couldn't see it all that well. I was having to.
Too pixelated for you?
Okay.
Too
Yeah,
pixelated for you?
yeah. Taken on a Russian potato.
And yeah, I saw a comment earlier. I don't remember who said that, but something along the lines of lots of money for Boeing, but marketing certainly isn't a priority for this. And yeah, it is super odd that they showed just a render of this instead of showing the actual hardware. Um, but even with this is still just to test the all the different pieces of hardware before they actually build anything that's flight worthy. And so far, I believe that they're at 3.6 billion that has been spent on just the exploration upper stage part of the program. Um, so yeah, we've had quite a bit go into that. However, despite that, there has been quite a lot of updates with the Artemis program, and stacking has continued for the core stage for Artemis 2. The crew has been doing lots of training exercises and getting ready to make sure that they have every contingency planned for. as most as they can anyway. And things seem to be progressing right ahead with having things ready for that flight sometime next year. Hopefully, there's no other delays for that one. And in the meantime, we've also got, the ongoing fight back and forth in Congress about funding. And it looks like that all of our worries have not exactly been for nothing, but it seems like Congress and the Senate is trying to keep funding levels the same as they have been and continue the SLS. However, there is a little bit of wording this time around to at least look at a bunch of commercial replacements for what we want to do with Artemis. And yes, we already have commercial vehicles for the moon landing portion of the Artemis architecture, but I take that wording, even though it's a little bit vague, as looking at alternatives to not just the SLS rocket, but maybe more importantly, the Orion capsule. So we'll see if that even goes anywhere or not, but at least NASA, or rather the Congress people who decide NASA's budget, is finally starting to be a bit more open about alternatives. So I find that encouraging at the least. I don't know about you guys. But
It's nice to not
Yeah.
be the end of the space program, you know?
Yeah, and I was just reading some, I was actually just talking with one of my friends who works at the Planetary Society this week at Griffith, and seeing NASA science taken from a 40. Yes, Missy, I know, I was very excited about it too. Seeing NASA science taken from a 47% cut down to an 18% cut. It's still cut, right? Like 18% is still a huge amount. But 47% was truly the apocalypse for NASA science. So we'll take it on that front. And it was very nice of Congress to kind of come around on that. But of course, gotta wait till October comes around, we guess. So we'll see if that still holds or not. So
yeah, we'll definitely see. Aside from that, though, we've got quite a few different updates from commercial companies. Relativity Space has been conducting static firing tests of their engine Aeon R, and that's
mhm.
pretty impressive to see. It looks like they have a really good gimbaling on that, and loving that they're still doing their monthly updates and giving us lots of progress, not just on their rocket, but also their launch site and construction that's coming along an old missile road there. It's kind of great. We've got Relativity Space, Stoke Space, and Firefly all kind of right next to each other in Cape Canaveral, a bit south of where SpaceX and United Launch Alliance launched. So it's really exciting to see these updates and all that stuff coming alive. And even though we're still maybe a year or so out from seeing a huge launch cadence, or at least things at least beginning, we're probably a couple years out before a huge launch cadence. It's still really impressive to me to see all these updates from these different companies, and the space industry feels like it's going to be in a much better position in just a couple of years, not just from the American
Yeah.
side, but worldwide.
Yeah, ever since Eric Schmidt took over at Relativity, it's almost seemed like the PR department has had a complete turnaround because they were basically releasing no information whatsoever. Like they would drip feed some social media posts and some photos and some videos here or there, but it wasn't on a regular cadence or anything. It was every few months. But now they've been doing these curated, narrated monthly recap videos of what the company has been up to at the Cape, at Long Beach, building, testing, designing, manufacturing. So yeah, it's really nice to see. Like, I think Relativity right now are one of the best aerospace companies in terms of communications with the general public. Like, they were one of the worst, and they've turned around, and they are now one of the best because SpaceX doesn't provide monthly updates into what they're getting on what they've been doing at Starbase, right? Blue
No.
Origin doesn't offer monthly updates of what they've been doing. And like, name another company in the aerospace industry that provides, scheduled monthly updates in, a concise and, enjoyable form to the general public. I think only Relativity are doing that right now. So I think everyone else should really be kind of catching up to what they're doing. It's great to see.
I think you're right. Yeah, it is
I
great to
think
see.
Arvel in the chat room's got it right with SpaceX, which is that they have NASA spaceflight for that, for their
Yeah, for their monthly update,
updates.
they'll just link to an NSF
So,
video.
so that's, in fact, I feel like that could be daily updates at this point with all the great work that's done at NASA spaceflight. So, I was going to say it's really interesting that Tim Ellis, the original CEO of Relativity, once he was out earlier this year, that's kind of when it seems like the PR train kind of turned around a little bit. And I don't know if that's just because like there was a holdup in that area, or just like certain focuses were different because someone who's an aerospace engineer running a program is most likely going to be much more focused on hardware software development than they are in informing the public about what they're doing. A more like heads down, work on it attitude. Not to say that like they're not doing that now at Relativity. They are very clearly working their butts off at Relativity. With every update we get, we see that they really are working hard at Relativity to get it done. But it might have been a little bit of a change of leadership that kind of helped out with that. And there's a lot to be said about being publicly open and accessible and other things like that about your company. One of the reasons that SpaceX has what I would describe as a legitimate fandom around it is the fact that they were, they provided those kinds of like things with like webcasts and other stuff like that. So,
Yeah, let's not forget there used to be a time where we got nothing from a lot of space companies, or even
yeah,
sometimes from government agencies. You had to dig deep to find stuff. And yeah, I remember a time if there wasn't any sort of investigative journalists looking at stuff, you weren't getting information. So
yeah, and boy, let me tell you, I want to say it was in 2014 where SpaceX had a flight where they weren't going to have a webcast, and oh,
outrage.
their outrage on the internet at that time. People were going to pay for it. And let me tell you, it was that was a real interesting couple of days around that one,
Yeah.
because I think the statement came out. It was like, well, here at SpaceX, we're flying so frequently now that we don't feel we need to, and everybody was like, no, you're not. So yeah, it was amusing to say the least. So it was pretty. Yeah, there it is. Alex Physics, our resident, or basically everyone's resident. I remember that it was Falcon 9's 10th flight, with the excuses that it was too frequent, and then here we are. As Alex is noting, over 500 launches later, and we're still streaming them. So.
I think we can all agree that SpaceX definitely changed the game and made spaceflight a lot more accessible to everyone. And I love seeing these new companies kind of try to one up that in whatever way they can. And I think that we're all better for it. I think the companies would be better for it as well, because just seeing this turnaround in just a few short months with Relativity is making me root for them a lot more and believe in them a bit more. So I think we're all kind of on the same page of keep doing that, aerospace companies. Keep giving us updates, keep being transparent, keep showing us what you have going on. We'll root for you, especially all of us here in the spaceflight industry.
Put it out there. And also, we want B-roll. Give us B-roll. Give us B-roll.
Even
like,
the
we want to
boring
talk
stuff.
about you.
Yeah.
We want to talk about you. We want to talk about how cool you are and the amazing stuff that you're doing. So just give us some really cool stuff to do that with. Don't give us a PDF with like numbers and charts and graphs and things. Like, this isn't an academic conference. Just tell us all the cool things.
Goes a long way. Goes a long way.
Yep.
It feels like it's the commercial company's version of soft power.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, in any case, though, they're making progress. Stoke is making great progress. Firefly is making great progress, and they're getting really excited about their Elytra. I can never pronounce this right.
Elytra.
Yeah, one more time.
Elytra.
Elytra. Okay.
Elytra.
Yeah.
Their orbital space tug.
Elytra, like in Minecraft. I think they should have just called it Elytra and gone into the memes, but apparently not. It's Elytra.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
It's like some version of a firefly or something. I don't know. It's like some firefly breed. I am not a biologist. I think it's related somehow
Oh,
to the
yeah,
firefly, but
species, yeah.
yeah, that's the limit of my knowledge on that one.
That's right, 'cause
A
their branding
theme.
is now is different species of fireflies. Like blue ghost, that's a common name for a species of firefly. So, yeah, that's right. Kinda forgot about that. But yeah, everyone's making progress, things are moving along well. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for how things are gonna be moving forward in the future. And if we're lucky, maybe this time Gilmore Space is ready to launch their Eris rocket over this next week. Right now, we have a no earlier than July 26th, but who knows? That could get moved, or rather, that could keep instead of getting moved back again. But um, regardless, I think we're all hoping for and rooting for them to have a successful first launch. So. Um, just one more
That's
thing.
definitely one to keep an eye on, especially because of the fact, not that I think. I need to be careful how I word this. Of course, I want Gilmore Space to do very well, and if they achieve all of their mission objectives on their first flight, congratulations to Gilmore Space. However, I
Oh no! Oh no!
No!
We lost Ryan right as he was about to get on his space his soapbox. Oh
Oh,
no!
well, we'll have to get him back. So, oh, a full LOS as well.
Oh
Oh man,
no!
ouch, ouchies. So must have been a solar flare bouncing off of some swamp gas with the light of Venus. So
I
it was,
think
oh, yikes. Am I next?
I think that that might have been a Ryan said Orbex. Was that someone being like, "Nah, he's about to say Kilmore Space got him." They knew that he was
No.
about to leak something, and we're like, "Nope, we're cutting the feed." That could have been the case. Who knows?
Or TLT.
Hopefully, we get Ryan back, though. We will see about that. The Ryan
Yeah.
fibers not fibering. Return to last topic. That's hilarious. But yeah, I'm yeah. I s- uh, have a feeling I know what he was going to say, but all I was just going to say, just again, rooting for them. Hope everything goes well, and
Yeah.
it'll be awesome to see that amongst several others.
Yes.
And it's looking like PLD Space is gearing up to try to launch for the first time next year, if possible. Although they still have a lot of construction work that they need to do at French Guiana. And then we have all the Chinese companies. Oh my goodness, like it's starting to get kind of real. It's starting to get super real. Oh, what's this? Ryan just sent something on the Discord. Oh my gosh. Ryan just sent a picture of a complete blue screen. So he is dealing with issues right now. That's all right. That's all right.
Ouch. Ouchies.
More rice. Everyone send positive vibes to Ryan's setup. He needs that for multiple things.
Oof.
Um, Speaking of computers and data centers, Jared, have you noticed how there's a lot of talk now about these orbital data centers, and even Eric Schmidt of Relativity is looking into that sort of stuff really seriously. Do you think that this is going to be a serious thing, or is this just a buzzword trend that's going on right now?
Well, first, the first thing that comes to my head is that it's an Internet of crap, kind of thing, right? So it sounds so perfect for something like that.
Welcome back,
Um,
Data.
that is here. But so if you're gonna put data centers into space, first of all, get your cabling nice. That's gonna be a real big part of that. And then
I thought they were supposed to be wireless. What do you mean? No, I'm just kidding.
um
Talk about your cloud storage.
yeah, exactly. That's all those HDMI cables, they're all wrapped around the equator and they're just, zipping around everywhere. It's gonna be a really big mountain of them at some point. Um But the biggest problem with those is going to be thermal management. Like, how the heck do you basically get all this heat out of this area, right?
Right?
Like, think about what a data center does for
Well,
the most
actually,
part, right?
Yeah, Jacob Bouchard just brought it up. They understand that there's
So,
no convective heat dissipation in space,
yeah,
right?
it's just going to be like it's already dang hot. Um, so
And I was seeing some of the energy requirements for some of this stuff. You'd have to have
yeah,
huge solar
Yeah.
panels to deal with this. I mean,
And
unless you're just doing small scale things. I don't know. Go ahead, Dad.
and
I'm sorry.
how do you deal with the precession caused by all of those spinning hard drives going in the same
oh.
direction and constantly at different velocities?
I think you could do that by placing them in orienting them relative to each other. You know, we could pull off helicopter blades here
But
and
they
have
don't
them
they don't they don't spin back.
contra-rotate.
You can't do contra rotating drives. They don't spin backwards.
Please discuss.
Well,
I'll be right back.
flip
I'm sorry. I got to
flip
step
them,
away.
right? Just flip it. How hard could it be?
There's
Just flip it,
there's
right?
They're still turning the same direction.
Oh my gosh, they are relative. Oh my gosh, you're a genius. So
And solid state drives are terrible for data for large redundant data storage.
I wonder if you can, because obviously if you're going to run it by solar power and you're going to have radiators somewhere, I wonder if you can position the radiators in an area that allows the heat rejection to apply a small amount of force, and then also have the rotation of the solar panels help counteract that as well. So, but also I am just so like preliminarily spitballing here that it does not sound like an easy thing to do. So
There's a number like Ika says use hard disks or use no hard disks, use SSDs. SSDs are notoriously terrible for any kind of high data exchange storage applications, and that's why all of the cloud storage and all that uses spinny drives. And once you power them up, they never spin down unless there's a mechanical problem that forces you to. SSDs are quick, and yes, you would want quick retrieval of your data to be able to transmit over, you know, several seconds of light year distance or light distance, so that you can get your data quickly. Like, this is not going to be fast or responsive, or I don't know. You also have to have a large dish in order to be able to transfer large amounts of data pointed directly at some ground station that you can communicate with that is equally large. And there's lots and lots of power that's needed in order to be able to keep all these things going, primarily because you're having to keep all these drives up and spinning and powered at a nominal voltage before they can actually be useful. Like, this is I don't see this is like the 5 secrets that are needed to keep humans alive or reconstruct society in the event of a total nuclear collapse or something. Like, what needs to be offsite that you can't put in multiple locations around the planet?
it kind of sounds like a hey, space is cool, isn't it?
It's
Should we throw some money at space?
That's what it feels like
Would
to
you?
me. It feels like just another buzzword thing. Like every time I see an Internet of Things satellite get launched, I'm like, that's still a thing? Like, who's using that? What are you talking about? But yeah, I don't know. Just feels like a weird buzzword to me. Like, it's in theory, I guess, a good idea, kinda, but I don't know. Just seems like a non-starter to me. Welcome back, Ryan. Oh my gosh, you were able to recover. Whew. Everything okay? You didn't need any rice or anything? Oh, 1 second. Maybe he does. We'll see.
His microphone didn't make it.
We got him back though.
I'd like some rice. I'm hungry. What? I
There we
always think of
go. The
anytime.
microphone decided to change which microphone was selected. Basically, I was about to say something really bad, so the Australian Foreign and Intelligence Service gave my computer a blue screen of death, and then disconnected me. So I won't say what I was going to say, just in case they decide to do it again.
No, say it. I want to see it happen again and confirm it was them.
But yeah, I think we're all supportive though, and wishing the best for Gilmore Space, and hope everything goes
100%.
well with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to go really well. Nothing bad at all is going to happen, and everybody should watch it, and everyone should give Gilmore Space lots of money, and big up Australia.
Yes.
Was Gilmore Space? I think weren't they the one that after they had the disconnect or whatever that had them abort the launch, they put up an image and it was like a really big like cockatoo or cockatiel bird that was biting the. I swear.
Yeah,
Was I
yeah.
hallucinating?
They put an image on X, and it was a cockatoo, which was inspecting the electronics at the pad. So I don't know if that's just part of their grand closeout team, making sure everything's
Yeah.
okay before launch. But
I was about to say, I don't know what the radio call is for a cockatoo pulling on the quick disconnect, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. So is
They
it
do
CDI?
They do
Cockatoo
things different.
cockatoo disconnect initiate. I don't know what it is.
They do things different. But yeah, how crazy is it? 56-year anniversary today of Apollo 11. Just so crazy.
Can I tell you all a funny story about the 50th anniversary?
Sure.
So on the
Actually,
50th
I have a funny
anniversary.
story too. Go ahead.
So I was coming back from working a shift at Griffith that day, and I had, they were doing. I can't remember who it was. Somebody was. I think it was NASA themselves, but all the networks here in the U.S. were also carrying like the live stream that NASA was doing of a like live replay of the Apollo 11 landing. And I just had it on my phone while I was driving home, and as soon as we got to the 30-second call out for fuel, my signal on it started breaking up, and I completely lost signal until like 3 minutes after the official landing. So I thought that was hilarious that here we were like 5 decades, half a century later, and and technology failed me in trying to recapture that moment. So it was pretty funny. So I know that when we land on Mars, no matter where I'm at, I'm gonna whatever feed I'm watching is just no matter where I'm at, I could be at the dang place. Actually, don't put me at where the broadcast is happening, because then it's gonna cut out and we're gonna lose it. And we're gonna have to like wait for it to get like downloaded or something, So just don't do it, man. Just don't do it. So
Hat tip to Apollo 1. We still have problems communicating between two buildings.
yes, we do. So yeah, hat tip to Verizon, best network in the nation, right? So
I made such a dumb mistake several years ago around the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. I made this video that I think was on just my personal channel. I don't think it was for tomorrow. And I put all this work into it and got all these videos and images together. And I was really proud of it. I thought I did such a great job and celebrating the 50th anniversary and just such an awesome thing. And I post the video and immediately get comments being like, bro, it's 2018. 50th anniversary is next year. I felt so stupid. I was a year off.
You were, you know what? Nobody's ever going to get mad at you for being excited.
I was
so.
I think I literally just took it down and then made it public the next year when it actually counted. It's like, well, got one ready for next year.
At least you scheduled it in advance,
Yeah.
Forward thinking.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, just get the premiere ready to go, and it's gonna be premiering a year from now.
Oh my Can't goodness. Nobody accuse you of being a procrastinator?
Man. Now you got me thinking about doing a premiere video prank of some sort.
Yeah, we got the
We
60th
can
anniversary to prepare for, right?
we got a little bit of time, but
Dude, you got
yeah,
4 years.
yeah,
No, just kidding.
yeah. But man, what a great accomplishment. So, if a lot of people knew what it had cost and how they had done it, I imagine people would have been very well. People were mad back at that time. I was gonna make a joke comparing it to Artemis, but actually, culturally, Apollo wasn't well received in its time. Up
Yeah.
until up until Apollo 11, then for about a week, everybody was pretty well cool with it. But we really do look back on it with rose-colored glasses from this time. I mean, seriously, there was a large amount of sentiment of this money could be going to something else, which boy does that sound familiar. So it's
Yeah.
like what was old is new again. So
Right? Right?
mhm, yeah,
And just remind me here, Ryan, do I have this right? With the crewed orbital missions, the first one to actually get a designation, because they had a weird designation for uncrewed test flights, was Apollo 7, right? That was just the
Yeah.
orbital test flight. And then we had Apollo 8, that was the figure eight around the moon. And then Apollo
Mhm.
9, that was also just an Earth orbit flight, but that one
Yep.
was testing out the system with the lunar lander and all that sort of stuff. Then we had
Yep.
Apollo 10, the whole full dress rehearsal, and then
Yep.
finally 11. So the
Yep.
orbital flights.
mhm.
But yeah, crazy. And do y'all remember how many flights we were supposed to have gotten? We got up to Apollo 17, but how many more were there supposed to be after that?
3 more.
3 more,
Yeah,
yeah. Supposed to go all the way up to Apollo 20. And that's not
Yep.
including the
mm,
Apollo capsules that were used for the Skylab program. Those were already like set aside for that.
I mean,
Um,
there was supposed to
Crazy.
be more beyond that with the Apollo applications program.
A lot
So
more, a lot more.
yeah,
And
plenty more.
actually, I talked about this week because it's the 50th anniversary of the Apollo Soyuz test this week, which happened in 1975. And the whole purpose of that mission was supposed to be a test of this new docking system so that there, if the need ever arose, there
Yeah,
could be some sort of international space rescue from either side if either the Soviets or the Americans got into trouble, and potentially dock to each other's space stations if things had continued with the Apollo applications program, and have Soyuz visit Skylab and have Apollo visit Salyut stations. So there was this whole kind of beautiful thing, and it all got canceled, but they went ahead with the mission anyway. And boy, am I glad they did, because if they hadn't gone forward with this mission, we wouldn't have gotten the handshake in space that led the way to eventually have the International Space Station today. Like, actually, Apollo Soyuz is one of, like, aside from the moon landing itself, is my next favorite of the Apollo missions. It's such a badass mission.
yeah, and what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Mike, made a fantastic video about the Apollo about Apollo Soyuz.
Oh, thanks.
So everybody should go watch our Apollo Soyuz project video that you just made, Mike. It was really super well done, and there were things in it that I didn't know about. So yeah, that was so cool. Also, I want to know where you got all the dang diagrams at and things like that too. I was just like, what the heck? I've never heard of this. So how the heck did he get diagrams of that to begin with? So,
NTRSB, man, it's your best friend. You just got to know
man,
what you're looking for. The
I
hardest
got,
part, I knew what I was looking for, but the hardest part was looking up the numbers. Because, like, even if you know the exact title and author of like a particular paper that, like, say, for example, was published in 1971, but that won't help you on the NASA NTRSB archive of a lot of blueprints and proposals and different stuff. So finding that number, that contract number that they designated on that website, that was the killer part, was trying to find that. Once I did, came up no problem. It was a McDonnell Douglas study in 1971 that they pushed forward. And actually, I didn't mention this in the video, but the Soviets loved it. They were gung ho for the idea. They were all about it. And like, it was almost like a source of embarrassment for them because they're like, we love this idea, but we can't technically pull it off right now because our Salute module that we're about to launch in 2 months only has a single docking port. But we love this plan, and let's definitely do it in the future. Like, that was the odd thing to me to find out, was that not just the American scientists, but the Soviet science, they were all gung-ho about this idea and doing stuff together. And it was more of like a weird thing between the CIA and oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of the secret service of Russia. Oh my gosh, KGB.
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 Dirt. They, like, their biggest problem was making sure that they didn't get too friendly with each other and shared too much information. Like, but
We should
everyone,
put a link to that video up there somewhere.
yeah, we'll add a card to that.
In the description.
And even for right now, I can at least drop a link into the chat room real quick. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, that way y'all can enjoy it once we're done talking here.
Yeah.
Or this, so yeah.
It's a
Apollo-Soyuz,
shame.
one of my
It's a shame
favorite.
we didn't. It's a shame we didn't get past Apollo 18 when all those astronauts died.
Oh my God.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
on the
if
moon
you've
because
seen
of the space fighters.
I forgot what it's called now, but there's this awesome documentary series on Apple TV about what happened after the moon landings. You know, because of course Alexei Leonov was the first person to land and walk on the moon. So yeah, that was a really interesting series I watched. It was so interesting to see how, you know, the Air Force like secretly installed some nuclear power thing inside of the moon base, and they had to run outside with that space yacht. So it was very realistic.
100%. Like you said, excellent documentary.
Mm-hmm.
For all mankind. For anyone who hasn't seen it, you definitely should. Very
Yeah.
good.
If you're looking for documentaries regarding space, I would highly recommend From the Earth to the Moon.
Yes, that's a good one.
And When We Left Earth.
That's another good one. Yep.
From the Earth to the Moon is an HBO produced series that has 12 episodes, my favorite of which is number 5, Spider, and it details the build of the lunar lander. But it's all like dramatic recreation sort of stuff, produced by Ron Howard and Tom Hanks, and like incredible theatrical quality, and really well done.
Yeah, for me, if there were like some that I had to throw in there, I would throw in Moonwalk 1, which was a documentary done within a couple of years of Apollo 11, and is pretty well captures the context of reactions of people. So it talks a lot about the technical achievements, but it also talks a lot about culturally too, how people were reacting to Apollo 11 with it. Now, to me, the Correct for All Mankind, which is a 1989 documentary, which that one presents the Apollo program as a whole. And it takes all the footage from Apollo 7 all the way to Apollo 17 to make it, and turns it into one cohesive mission to the moon. And it's got music by Brian Eno, and it's absolutely just fantastic. And then also I'd throw in the Shadow of the Moon, simply because that one is all the Apollo astronauts saying their piece about it. So it's all of them. And then of course Apollo 11, which came out 6 years ago during the 50th anniversary celebrations. That one is just stunning in every respect. And man, if it ever comes back in the theaters, I will probably be living in the theater that it's in.
I've got it, and I've got a subwoofer. Just come on over. You can make your heart race again.
Yes.
Well, there you go, folks. There's some great recommendations for you. Yeah, I'm certainly It feels a certain kind of way, especially in the modern day where you have China. And I don't know if they've ever said this before, but in one of their announcements about their spacesuit and getting ready for their mission to the moon someday, talking about how they will be the first person on the moon. And, basically the subtext reading between the lines is saying that we faked it and that they are going to be the first. So
Mm.
I'm kind of hoping, like, I almost want to spread this around. Like, I want to print it on some junk mail and mail it to all the Congress people to maybe light a fire under their butts. We can't let China talk about us like that.
I just hope it was a bad translation. Because I mean, it's it's just one of those things where like China has pointed at what the United States has done before, and pointed to it to their domestic selves as a look at what you can do when you put the effort into it. I know they've done that a lot with like our the Mars exploration rovers and things like that. So so hopefully that was just a bad translation, because I don't I just don't think that China leadership would say something that obtuse, but also like I don't know. The past couple of years, there's been a lot of things in politics where we've been like, that can't happen, and then look at what happens. It's actually worse. So,
I don't know, man.
there's no way that's going to happen in spaceflight, and then you get the credit roll and what's the Larry David show? I can't think of it. I'm not
Oh,
doing so good. Curb Your
yeah,
Curb Your
Enthusiasm
Enthusiasm.
music
yeah.
playing all of a
Everyone
sudden.
uses that as the
So
meme. Yeah.
yeah, that's what we got.
See, okay, even if it is fake news, even if this is a mistranslation, I want to treat it as if it is and get all of our leaders all riled up so that they think we're in a moon race again and take it seriously.
Yeah.
Massimo says that China is one of the countries that has photographed the Apollo 11 landing site. So
Yeah,
how
we've
can I
got the
deny it?
Yeah.
images that prove that we did it.
Yeah.
In addition to
It's
Chandrayaan and
Yeah.
LRO and a whole
it's
bunch of
awesome.
others.
It's awesome when you can take everybody else's accomplishments and claim them as your own.
Can I throw another anniversary in the mix
Yeah.
as well? So I want to say happy 10th anniversary to the New Horizons flyby of Pluto. So
Ooh.
so it's been 10
years
years since
ago.
that happened.
Holy
So
cow.
that was an amazing month leading up to that. Watching every day, the photos got better and better and better, and we just kept seeing wilder and wilder terrain, because it wasn't necessarily that Pluto was like gonna, like, the expectation was that Pluto was gonna be some sort of like cosmic cue ball of ice out there, but it really was not. Like, as there was no way anyone was prepared for it to be as geologically complex as it is. The surface geology of it's almost more complex than the Earth's geology is, in terms of the visual topography of it. Like, you've got like these big flat plains and then chaos terrain and then mountains, and they're all within the same area, and it just
Yeah, it's
doesn't make
crazy.
sense. And
This
it's
is
wild. Like,
since
it
the
should.
flyby,
What's up?
or this is since the flyby, or since the launch?
Since the flyby.
What, the anniversary?
Yeah.
Yeah, the flyby. So next year, actually, this January is going to be the 20th anniversary since launch. So it takes a while to get places
We're old yet.
that far out. So
Wow.
Yeah, because I remember watching the launch live, and that was the yeetiest rockets of yeety rockets that I've ever seen
Yeah.
have payload on them.
yeah, that and Parker Solar Probe, a 600 kilogram rocket or 600 kilogram probe launched on a Delta IV Heavy with a solid third stage. And the amazing thing is that was just to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in high school when New Horizons launched. So that's wild.
I wasn't.
So
So crazy. Well, with that,
Yes.
since before we get depressed about how much time has passed, I think we should probably wrap things up. Unless
Get off my lawn.
get off. So I guess let's go ahead and wrap things up. I did want to give a big thank you and big shout out to everyone who has been supporting our show through the membership program. And thank you to everyone who has been contributing to the show in all of our different levels, through ground support all the way up to escape velocity. If you haven't already, you can sign up for as little as $1 a month. And also, I want to send out a big thank you again to our ever so faithful Dave Avery for gifting another 5 memberships this week to 5 lucky folks who will be able to join us in our After Dark show right after this, where we'll
Yeah.
keep talking about some of these ideas and maybe get sidetracked on a couple other tangents. But we usually always have a good time. So be sure to join us with that, especially if you were just gifted a new membership. And again, thank you to everyone who has been supporting us so loyally. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close up this live show. I hope that you enjoyed talking about some of these concepts with space planes and rockets and waxing nostalgic over some of our accomplishments that I count for all of humanity. So thank you again for watching. And until the next time we see you guys, keep moving onwards and upwards. And don't forget, Ad Astra, to the stars.